Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the thing about taking the leave, you've probably heard this, but don't you think it's interesting that in the United States we have like an average of 2 weeks of vacation a year, and in most of the countries in Europe they have 6 weeks a year? I mean, we have one of the least amount of vacation time of any of the modern industrial countries.
I know. I think we have it backwards.
Yeah.
For sure. And, but there's some things that, I don't know, I think it's the way of life around here, for sure. Also, developing healthy habits that, such as meditation or yoga, or even just turning off everything for a minute, just to be within ourselves where there's not noise, and being able to appreciate ourselves,
Yeah, and that actually is another one of the self-care tips, because the idea of some solitude, that inner directed time, whether it's yoga or meditation or maybe even like a spiritual activity, but something where you do kind of turn everything off, you find some peace, some tranquility, and you're able to just sort of refocus. This is why I love a lot of the mindfulness stuff, because it really brings in this idea of just being in the present moment. And allowing yourself some time to sort of get away from everything, all the stimulus that we have in our society, and have some time to unplug and recharge.
Couldn't say it better. Another thing, I just kind of browsing here, but also building strong connections, positive people in our lives, getting rid of toxicity, and caring for ourselves. And I think that that's essential also, even if it's family that's toxic and stressful. Sometimes it's okay to put them at arm's length if it's not healthy. Because,
absolutely.
Because, I mean, I'm not saying don't be there for your family, but sometimes family can be the cause of a lot of stress.
Oh, yeah. And you may have people other than your family who may be your most supportive relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You may have that best friend, or you may have, someone that's not necessarily in your family, but that still gives you that close emotional connection. And we know that social support is so important for your health and wellness. And, you've got to find someone that you can connect with and you can feel like you can open up with. Which is why also just, love is such another positive thing that we need to try to improve more of our self-care through having loving relationships.
Yeah, and making sure it's genuine.
Yeah.
Brian Cardoza on Facebook Live said, "Don't forget, art is huge for mental health and dealing with stress." So,
I totally agree with that. All these expressive kinds of activities, art and music, and all the different ways that people can have that creative expression is so important for just our overall health.
I want to hear some of the listeners call in 866-826-1340. If we've missed anything and there's some self-care tips that you are doing, or if you have any questions, advice, or anything, call us. We're here. We're here. 866-826-1340. I know there's more creative ways that other people feel that they take care of their own mental health and how they cope with stress, anxiety, and making sure that it doesn't get the best of them. And like you said, a lot of times when we are our own worst enemy, we tend to self-destruct, and we tend to take it out on ourselves, which leads to negative patterns of behavior and negative habits to maybe escape or to feel connected. But the support groups, finding like-minded people, feeling connected in the community is essential. Spending time with positive people, family that's positive, children, and doing things for ourselves that is healthy. It really makes such a difference, and it builds self-esteem, don't you think?
Absolutely builds self-esteem. I was going to suggest we could do something fun, Tiffany.
Okay.
How about I'll reveal one of my positive self-coping strategies, and then you reveal one of yours.
Oh, is this like Truth or Dare? Okay,
Well,
you
no,
do it.
not really.
Okay,
I'll
okay, you go first, and then I'll tell you.
I'll go first. So one thing that I really like to do, well, I'll give you two. Two
Ooh,
things I really like
I
to
thought
do
we were taking turns. You can save yours.
Okay, I'll say my second one. So my first one is reading. And if I can find like just some, escapist, trashy fiction novel kind of thing, like I love John Grisham.
You like trashy fiction?
Well, I like John Grisham, for example.
What's trashy?
A lot of the legal thrillers. I mean, it's not Shakespeare. Let's put it that way. So, but if I can escape into a good book, that's great for me, and it just kind of takes me away from everything. So, okay, your turn.
I like listening to vinyl records and lighting candles.
Oh.
And I have a wide selection of them. And so depending on the mood that I want to be in, I might put on some Pink Floyd or Journey or Grateful Dead or even Madonna or Cyndi Lauper. It depends on what I'm into. Or punk rock, of course. I got a lot of Social Distortion and Linkin Park and alternative stuff, Nirvana.
Wow. Okay, so you said vinyl records, though.
Right. I collect them. So that's kind of my little thing for me, And it's vinyl. You got to take care of them. And not only that, but you get to hear the whole story that the artist is trying to portray on the album. That's what time and iPods and everything took away from music, is that you find your favorite song, maybe the one hit wonder or whatever, and they play that one. But the artist put so much effort into how they organize their songs on their album, and it's a lot of times they're telling a story with it, and from hearing it from the beginning to the end the way that they wanted it to be heard, it kind of gets it means more.
I'm totally with you on that, because when I was growing up as a kid, that's what we had was vinyl. So I used to, back in the day, had a big vinyl collection.
What happened to them?
Well, so they're still in a box in my basement. I still have them, but right now I don't have anything like good to play them on. I don't have a turntable.
Well, they've been selling them all over the place, even the Kohl's, Barnes and Noble. I mean, they're affordable. Break out those records or send them my way. I'll play them.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, and you actually, my second thing was going to be music. I was going to talk about just
copycat.
Yep.
Except yours are in the basement.
Well, no. So now I've gone like my daughter, like the digital route, and so I'm in the car, and so I'm on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, and now I have the whole catalog, of all the artists and all the people that I grew up with, and so they're there at fingertips.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I like the vinyl, because Spotify, all that, and you could make playlists, but it picks certain songs that you like out of the album, but it doesn't force you to listen to the whole album. Like the Foo Fighters, they have a story they tell through it. And then you start to hear other songs. You're like, wow, this is really great. Just because it wasn't mainstream on the radio doesn't mean it's not a good song,
Yeah. I agree with you. That's
Green Day's another one. In fact, they had a Broadway play from his American Idiot album. They made it into a Broadway play, and I heard that Alanis Morissette is making one from her album, Jagged Little Pill.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a Broadway play based on that?
On hers. I actually went and saw the Green Day one. It's really, really great. Billy Joe Armstrong and lead singer of Green Day is not there, but they have a Broadway play based on his album. They won a lot of awards. Where have you been?
No. Hey, I'm so
music.
So many ways disconnected. Let me just tell you that.
Okay, well, that's mine. And you said the next one was music?
Yeah, that was the next one. Was music. Yep.
I think my other.
What was your?
I don't know. Spending time with my kids in a way that makes them happy too. I love hearing them laugh. I love watching them smile, and I love just a great day where at the end of the day they're like, today was a great day, and that's just it's a breath of fresh air for me. And I know that sounds cliche because I'm sure moms say that all the time, but mine, it really is. I mean, I actually like my kids.
Well, that's great. I wish, I hope every parent would say that, but maybe.
I don't know that every parent likes their children.
Yeah.
Sometimes their children are difficult or something. I don't know. But I've been blessed.
I'm with you on that. I think, spending that quality time with the people you care the most about, you can't beat that.
So, but besides that also, I like sitting on the beach or going to the beach, probably closer to sunset after 4, where it's not beating hot, and watching the sunset. And that's, I guess, a luxury we have in Florida more than other places, but not when it's too hot, but just putting the chair next to the water and letting my feet where the waves are kind of just hitting the water and still kind of near the chair. But it's not beating down too hot, and I even have an umbrella that has UV protection or whatever. I like just watching the sunset. I'm appreciating that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So, see, look at all these great self-care things. There's a million of them.
Mm-hmm. I know, and kayaking is another one. Being on the water. Yep. Being on the water is big for me. But then even up north, skiing would be nice. Sledding or just breaking free, and that would be physical exercise, right?
Yep. And can I throw in one more we haven't talked about?
Yes.
So how about humor?
So which kind of humor?
So looking for the fun and laughter in life, looking for, jokes, funny stories, things that bring us a smile, make us laugh, something that breaks the tension. I mean, for me, that's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So do you watch funny shows or movies, comedies or stand-up comedy, or how do you find the humor?
I have, over the years watched, a lot of sitcoms and a lot of, comedy movies and, going way, way back, even, like Seinfeld and Friends and, all the Pink Panther movies. And I mean, I could make you a big list, but there's nothing better to me than having a big laugh. I think
Pink Panther movies?
A lot of stress. Yeah. Is that too old a reference for you?
No, it's just, that's just, I just haven't heard that one as someone's favorite in a long time, I guess. Maybe it is a little bit.
I'm talking about the Peter Sellers ones, not the Steve Martin ones. I'm talking about the oldie.
Yeah, maybe it's a little before my time, just a little bit.
Okay. Yep.
But I can understand. I mean, we all have our own thing. I like watching mindless television that I can escape, and it's just on Netflix or something like that. There's really no point. It's not educational. It's just more like how I decompress after a long day. Because us therapists, we're not allowed to talk about our day when we're in private practice.
Right, exactly. I mean, you're serious all day. So, I mean, again, you need to let it out some.
No, but we can't go home and talk about what we've been
No, I know that. I'm just saying, but that's why sometimes we need that release of just laughter or humor when when we're not at work.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or just to pretend, I don't know, escape reality a second. Sean Martin on Facebook Live, he said, a key thing that helped me discover new ways to deal with stress was acting training. When you truly dedicate yourself with empathy only to learn everything about a persona and the human behind it, you start to be able to look at yourself more objectively. There's self-compassion.
Terrific.
That's great. Thanks for posting that.
Terrific. Yeah, I know nothing about acting, but I admire anybody who can do that.
Mm-hmm. Or to at least, a lot of times they were saying also about fiction and literature, and that people, even with, and even prisoners and people that have lost their freedom, or they provide books, and reading fiction helps them build compassion because they are looking through the eyes of these characters, and it's teaching them compassion in ways of the world from identifying with the character that they're reading about.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
We got about 4 minutes. So I know that you have a website and ways and a mental health group, and you want to plug those things in so people can reach out and maybe join and be a part of it. I know you have davidsusman.com, and it's DavidSusman.com. And that you have a blog and social media?
Yeah. So the website is my mental health and wellness blog, and I've got over 200 different articles and posts there about all kinds of things, including, which I'll always put this out there, I do stories of hope. So if anybody wants to share their mental health journey, we do like print interviews on the blog, and I'm happy